In this lesson, we're going to include graphics in our document. Hopefully you've already downloaded the Lecture 11 materials, which include a JPEG file and a PNG file. These are image files of a banana and a chart that looks like a fish. So hopefully you've downloaded both of those and you're ready to go. So we'll start by opening our template. And again, hopefully you've created one of these by now. And this is going to be an article about including graphics. So I'll change the title here. Now for graphics, you'll want to use a package. So this will be our first time using a package. Well, actually, I guess we've used the geometry package before, so this will be an introduction to a new package then. So we want to use package, so /use package. The name of the package is GraphicX. So we put GraphicX in curly braces after the use package tag. I'm going to put both of my packages here together just to keep things organized. So I have my title, author, date, and for my introduction, well, we want to use graphics because frankly, picture books are better. If you've ever read a scientific research paper that had no graphics in it, you know what I mean. It's much better to include some kind of graphics, although you don't want to go overboard, but something to get your point across visually. So, graphics can come in many different file types. So you saw we had a JPEG and a PNG file. So first let's start with a banana. And this is a JPEG file. Now if I just want to directly include that image of the banana right here, I would use the tag include graphics. And then in curly braces, banana.jpg. Now this assumes that LaTeX will find a file called banana.jpg in the same folder that it finds your TeX file. So we need to save this template that we're creating here. We don't want to save over our template. I believe I did that last lecture. Hopefully you didn't follow me along there. So file save as. This is lecture 11. So we'll save this as lecture11.tex. All right, now lecture 11 is in the same folder as both of the images I want to use. And so that is expected, and we'll look later at how to have your images in different directories and locate them. Now let's run this and see what we get. And here we see our text. All right, so there you have it. You've got your text followed by the banana. Again, notice this is really close to the line above it, and we looked at some tricks last time as to how to space that out. But let's continue and try include graphics again. Using the PNG file. So this is a fish in a chart in a PNG. I call these ping files. I'm not sure if other people do that. I haven't heard anyone say it out loud. So include graphics, fish.png. All right, typeset that. We've got both of our graphics in here. And now we want to look about how to put these graphics into a floating environment. Just like we did with the tables, where we put the tabular block of code into a floating table environment, now we're going to put this include graphics command into a floating figure environment. So this will be float figure environment. So in my article, I want to include a JPEG image of a banana. You can see this image in the figure below. All right, to create a floating figure environment, we start with begin, the keyword figure, and then of course every begin has an end, so we end the figure. The figure tag requires a special input, and this time we're going to put it in square brackets after figure. And this input says where to put the figure, so it's a floating environment just like we did with tabular. We're going to do the same thing here. You can go back and review in the other lecture if you don't remember what this means. So HTTP or BP. Now I want my figures centered on the page, which is usually customary, so I'm going to create the centered environment, begin center, end center. And between the centering environment tags, I will include my graphics. So I started with my banana. Now the next thing I want to put is a label. I'm sorry, let's do a caption first. Let's do a caption after include graphics. So this caption will be after figure 1, just like it was in the table. I'll just say this is a banana. And then a label. So I have a convention where I name all of my figures FIG colon. So they all start with fig, so I can tell my figures and tables apart when I'm referencing them throughout the document. Get rid of that other space there. Now keep in mind, like we talked about before, this float could end up anywhere, so it might not actually appear below. But depending on how I've set my options and how LaTeX lays things out, I can't really guarantee where this figure is going to land. So what I want to do is refer to it by its label. So instead of saying in the figure below, I'm going to say in figure, remember the tilde to keep the figure and the number together, /ref. Now you'll notice that they separated here on different lines, but remember that the lines showing up in the TeX file are not necessarily how the lines are going to be broke in the final PDF. So ref fig banana. And let's run that and see how it looks. So there's my banana included directly, my chart, and then my figure. Now my figure ended up not fitting at the bottom of this page, and so it was inserted in the middle of the next page, since it was the last thing in the document. So let's just do this quickly one more time. For our next image, I'm just going to copy paste to save me some typing. Prepare for the next image. So the only changes I need to make here are the name of the graphics file, which is fish.png for this image. I'll change the caption. And I'll change the label. I'll call this label Fig Fish. All right, so in my article, I want to include a PNG image of a chart that looks like a fish. You can see this image in figure tilde/ref fig fish. Typeset that again. And now we see the figure of the fish, properly labeled figure 2, after the figure of the banana, labeled figure 1, at the bottom of our document. Notice the question marks here. I wasn't watching my console very closely, so let's pull this out where I can see it when I run. I have LaTeX warnings, references, labels may have changed. Run with LaTeX again. So let's typeset again, and now I see I've got figure 1 and figure 2 showing up properly. All right, so let's conclude this document. We've learned how to put figures in, so adding images to an article, but I want to talk about one more thing. And if you'll recall back in one of the earlier lectures, when we made something 2-column, we got a lot of HBox warnings. And so let's make this document 2-column. Now you can see that these figures I've inserted are actually pretty large, especially the chart one, taking up quite a bit of the page. So if I change my environment from article to proceeding, so PROC, and typeset again, I see my LaTeX warning about labels, so I'll go ahead and typeset again. But I also see a number of overfull HBoxes. So this is occurring because I have an image that I want to include in a column, and it doesn't fit in the column. You can see that the image flows over column 1 into column 2. The second image, even more so, flows over into the next column. And so what I need to do is resize those images. The best way to do this is to open it in your original image editing software and actually change the size of the image file there. But sometimes for whatever reason you can't or don't want to do that. Another option that you have is after the include graphics tag, you can specify a size. So let's start at the first one. I guess our first include graphics is here. You can specify a size, and you do this in square brackets. So I'm going to put 2 square brackets there, and I'm going to specify the width. I don't want to change the height in this case because it's just the width that's making it flow over. If I change the width, it should auto-correct the height accordingly and change them together. So I want to change the width to, I'm going to say 2 inches because I really want these figures a lot smaller. So I'm going to copy and paste this option width equals 2 inches and place it after each of my include graphics before the file name. And then when I run this again, first of all, I have my labels may have changed warning, so typeset again. As soon as you start working with references, you're almost always going to have to typeset twice, so just get used to that. And now you can see the pictures are much smaller. I'm going to shrink this. We don't really need to read the text, but let's look at what the whole page looks like. You can see that the pictures are much smaller, 2 inches wide, and fit very well within the column. All right, we'll look at some more things about graphics in a later lecture, but for now, go ahead and start playing with this and including some graphics of your own.